Thanks a lot. I'm like super jazzed to be here.
Welcome! Yeah!
I've never presented in a bar before. It's cool. I have a kind of random question. Is there a guy named Jay in the room?
Yes, hi.
Nice to see you. Yay! You made it. I met Jay on an airplane on the way home from Dubai. And it's a 13-hour flight. And we got to chatting about geospatial. So I'm so happy to see you here. Okay. So I'm going to talk about, so I'm Holly. I'm a transport economist with the World Bank, and I'm going to talk about an experiment my team is undertaking in Laos. So Laos, it's a landlocked country in Southeast Asia. It's sandwiched between Thailand and Vietnam. It is super beautiful, very peaceful, lots of Buddhist temples, good food, and also it's very poor on a GDP per capita scale. Next. And one reason for this poverty that's preventing them from really emerging is their transportation network, which mostly looks like this. In the whole country, there's 2 kilometers of rail, which I find funny. It's not funny, but it's interesting. They don't have many airports, and most of the roads are unpaved, like this. And as a result, whenever it rains, many of the roads in the network become impassable, cutting off hundreds of thousands of people from the entire supply chain network of the country. And when it rains a lot, people have to get around by boats. So the World Bank is investing in a rural road upgrading and rehabilitation program, and also some fancy rural road asset management system to help begin paving the national network. But there are challenges. Challenge number 1, there is no map of the road network in Laos, which makes it difficult to prioritize where to invest in rural roads. And 2, once we procure this very fancy rural road asset management system, we have no means to put data in the system because all of the current data collection practices are done on paper and are very ad hoc. So we wanted to find a way first to build this national road inventory in like the cheapest, most resource-constrained manner possible. It's cool. Yeah, keep going. So we decided to leverage some tools that are already out there, like Mapillary, Kapow, and OpenStreetMap, Shazam, and QGIS. Yes. So what we did is we took the current paper-based surveys that the Lao government uses now to evaluate roads, and we identified which parts could be transferred to the OpenStreetMap. We think of OpenStreetMap as this ready-made cloud-based solution for managing a national road database. It has almost everything we need. All of the agencies can access it, it's near real time, and you don't need a very high level of skill to keep it up to date. And then we identified which aspects do not belong in an OSM and would belong in our geospatial database. So we designed a workflow where we have our relatively lower skilled staff in the districts collecting mapillary imagery, and then we have our higher skilled level staff at the provincial and national level tagging the mapillary imagery for assets like signs or guardrails, as well as temporal features like potholes or landslide risk. And then within the GIS department in the Ministry of Public Works and Transport, we have them updating the OpenStreetMap using the mapillary imagery as a guide. So step 1 was just to get the center lines on a map, and this was super slow going until there were some floods in the summer, and then working with our friends at HOT, we were able to map pretty quickly some of the areas that were affected by the flood. Then we worked with Mapillary on setting up tasking managers so that we could show, so that the ministry could keep track of the percentage of roads in their network that had the Mapillary imagery captured. So this just shows red box, imagery not captured yet, green box, all the roads with center lines and OSM have the imagery captured. And this went super well. Our counterparts were really excited about Mapillary, and within a very short amount of time, they mapped all of the roads that would be invested in through the World Bank project. All those green squiggles happened after our training. And then with the floods, we were happy to see that the Ministry of Transport dispatched some of their staff to the flood-prone areas as a means to send information so they could start working out a plan on what areas to prioritize. And so the next step was to update the OSM using the Mapillary imagery to help identify the more precise locations of culverts and tide features. And then we set up, kind of messy, not optimal workflow, where they have the Mapillary imagery and the QGIS windows open at the same time, so they could start updating the QGIS database with temporal features. And I since learned that there's actually a widget now, a plugin that's been created for QGIS, where you actually can view the Mapillary imagery directly in QGIS, so don't do what we did. Next. And then, so Mapillary, they have this nifty tagging feature. We've been working closely with the Mapillary team on expanding this feature so that we can also add comments. So instead of just saying pothole, we could also indicate the severity. And also, they've been helping us with generating GeoJSON exports of all of the tagged features, which we can then import into other programs. And then this process is bad, because we then import the GeoJSONs with all the tags into QGIS, and we draw buffers around the features and then link them to the roads so we can associate road IDs with the issues, and it's terrible. But Mapillary says that soon they'll be able to tag, to assign the road IDs to the tags that we export, which would make it a lot easier. That's that. Okay, next. So that's it. So I'm headed to Laos on Friday, where we're going to organize a mapathon. It'll be the first OpenStreetMap mapathon in the country, so we'll hopefully generate some enthusiasm. And we're looking forward on the project. Thanks.
Should we do questions? Yes, does anyone have any questions?
Did you face any political pushback, or were these all roads and properties that were kind of agreed upon ahead of time?
Yeah, that's a good question, since that does come up a lot.
Can you repeat it into the microphone?
Sure. The question was whether we encountered any political difficulties. So for example, we've done some Mapillary work in Vietnam, where the government was opposed to having this imagery made publicly available. In Laos, in the initial workshop, when we introduced the concept, there were some dissenting voices, but we were very fortunate that the minister was very supportive, and that was all we needed. So no, we haven't had difficulties, but it's a good question.
And the goal was to put these rural roads on the map, right? Before they didn't have any system for documenting these, what would otherwise seem like trails, given no pavement, yeah?
That's right. So what often happens in a rural road investment program, we at the World Bank will receive a list of the priority roads, and that list will be generated at a provincial or district level. And magically, these roads will just happen to connect to elected officials' hometown towns or their summer residence. And when you don't have a map of the complete network, you don't have a means to evaluate whether or not these investments actually make sense and whether you're being asked to invest in the optimal roads. In another program, we worked with DevSeed on developing an open source tool for analyzing rural accessibility. So looking before and after making a road improvement, what percentage of villagers can access a given point of interest within like 60 minutes by road. And once we complete that network, then we can start running these analyses and prioritizing the roads in a more meaningful way. And then also, when the World Bank leaves and they have their rural road asset management system, they have a means to collect field data in a way that's more efficient than paper, so that they can allocate their maintenance budget more effectively to keep the roads in good condition.
Thank you so much.